Prime Nagi Seishirou was truly something different because he had one of the highest peaks in the manga that arguably still hasn't been reached to this day. The lazy genius, the McDonald's employee, whatever nickname you're giving him, there was once a time where he was on top of the world. The way people talked about Prime Nagi Seishirou, you would have thought they were talking about Thanos, like he would snap his fingers and a goal would be scored. He would trap the ball and mountains would move. But over time, you had LARPers who just said Nagi is the best because he's their favorite character, and then D1 haters who clown on him saying he was never that good, which is why he failed Blue Lock. So I took the liberty to gather 4 different instances of Prime Nagi Seishirou before the chapter 298 incident to determine if he really had the highest peak in the manga, or was he just an overhyped fraud that got eliminated? And what better way than to start with his beginnings? Because y'all know Rome wasn't built in a day. This is the same as Nagi Seishirou's hype. He earned it through his actions, like what he did during the first selection. We start with the OG Team Z facing off against Team V. Oh yeah, nostalgia, baby. But anyways, this is Nagi Seishirou's debut in the manga. At this point in time, Team Z gotta win this game or else they'll all get eliminated, so the stakes are very high, going against an undefeated Team V. They immediately start with this plan to block Ryo and Zantetsu, leaving Igaguri to counter the ball from Nagi Seishirou, and somehow this David versus Goliath matchup actually worked in our favor. This will never happen again, dog, so we gotta take advantage of it. Now that they got the ball, Batra sends it flying to the other side with a non-goalkeeper Gagamaru barely missing, which is an insane sight to see. And this is where it starts, y'all, because Ryo, after seeing this, gets all giddy, toes curling about doing the same exact play, just 10 times better. They hit the monkey see, monkey do, and send it flying just like Batra, but since it was a little sloppy, the pass was overhit, and everyone thinks there's no way Nagi can reach it. But this is the moment where we all realize there is levels to this, because Nagi Mario jumps and traps the impossible pass midair. Up until this point, we had basic weapons like speed, dribbling, power, but we have never seen some server admin powers like this. Just peep Raichi and Naruhaya in the back. All they can do is look up in awe at what is happening. Isagi in the next frame looks like he's seen a ghost, and Nagi Seishirou pulls out the time freeze move because Iemon doesn't move a single inch to block it. Batra is in the back just running in place, and the goal goes in, making it 1-0. So just off this one introduction shot alone, you can see the threat we're dealing with. Stopping time, jumping like he got super boots from Subway Surfers, and a nonchalant personality on top of that. But hey, maybe it was a lucky goal. He couldn't possibly do...
It popped up! This is our chance!
Alright, there are so many things wrong here. First of all, we gotta stop putting in Igaguri to block Nagi. Just look at that brutal height mog. Second of all, bro casually putting out some Sunisa moves to hit this bicycle kick like it's another day in the office. Talking about some, can I go take a nap now? Y'all have to remember, this is within 5 minutes of his character being introduced. Genuinely, what do you even do after hearing some BS like that? Imagine dedicating your whole life to the sport and someone like that just pulls up on you with zero care in the world. And you could see it in their faces. Naruhaya's life was already horrible. He was useless in the first selection, and he was broke. Nagi Seishirou was just the cherry on top. Dare I say, Nagi had one of the best introductions, but it doesn't end there because our boys start making a comeback, scoring some goals, which sends Ryo into a panic, and that's when Nagi decides to take things into his own hands. We've already seen some crumbs on what Nagi can do, but this is truly the first time Nagi really lets loose. No laziness, walking on his own, and even asking for a pass from Zantetsu. Shigiri runs in to try and block the pass, but that's when Zantetsu hits him with the fattest weave of all time, sending it over to Nagi where Imamura and Igaguri were on him. And oh brother, with this trash defensive line, you can do some whatever the hell move you want and probably still make a goal. But Nagi Seishirou somehow still managed to make this impressive because he proceeds to pull out a 3-piece combo. Number 1, trap the ball mid-air. Number 2, 2 hops this time, jumping up again. And number 3, shooting the falling ball mid-air for a goal, leading to a straight KO. So arguably one of the most threatening introductions besides Itoshi Rin. And from this game alone, we just knew he was about to be something great. Especially after being fired up from Isagi and the loss, the first selection was truly the beginning of Prime Nagi, because the next selection was just around the corner. Nagi Seishirou during the second selection high-key backpacked Isagi in many different occasions. He was pulling up every game, dropping insane stats and feats. But the 4v4 match was genuinely some of the most impressive moves we've seen from Nagi up until that point, because we had to go against the big boss Itoshi Rin. Nagi and Isagi were both already 0-1 with him, so they were coming with vengeance. And what transpired here was a monumental moment for the fans to start riding the bandwagon. Fans started to glaze Nagi like how they glaze Gojo just because of this game. We enter the match with Team White consisting of Isagi, Nagi, Chigiri, and Barou versus Team Red, which had the most random lineup of all time with Rin, Ryu, Tokimitsu, and Bachara. We see 1 point scored from Team White's 4-man chemical reaction, and then another point with Rin dodging everyone. So the score is tied 1-1, but not for long, as Mr. Nonchalant yoinks the ball away from Isagi, gives it to Bachara, who sends the ball to Ryu, and he scores on Nagi. So right out of the gate, this is the intense game everyone has been waiting for, but being down 1 point, this is where we finally see a locked-in Nagi. The game restarts with Nagi passing the ball to Chigiri, who is going against Ryu, a true genetic battle of speed versus height. Barou to his left got the imaginary number 3 on him, so he's not really an option for a pass. Isagi knows this, so he's using Barou as a decoy to get the pass himself. Unfortunate for Isagi, Rin knows the exact same plan he is thinking of, and Nagi comes to the conclusion that it's because their vision of the game is basically the same. So the only reason why Isagi can't beat Rin right now is simply due to a difference in physical skills, which is low-key a sneak diss. Imagine hearing this in real life, your homie telling you the only reason why you're losing is because he's taller, he's more handsome, he has more muscle, he can jump higher. Even if it's the truth, that is a justifiable crash out, dog. But anyway, since Isagi doesn't have that last piece to beat Rin, Nagi decides to be that piece himself. And as soon as he takes a step, both Rin and Isagi got their eyes glued to him, as we see, not even over-exaggerating, Nagi flash steps down the field. Like, what is even going on here? But this causes Isagi's puzzle pieces to flow with ideas, and since Nagi is open, Chigiri hits it to the side to him, but Rin is quick on the pull-up game, already in front of him. So he decides to leave the ball and let it go towards Isagi, and the plan works exquisitely as Nagi goes behind Rin and Isagi passes it back to him. But just as you think everything is sunshine and rainbows, Nagi looks back and sees Rin already rushing towards the ball with zero hesitation. Nagi is just as shocked as us, and it's a battle of the lazy genius versus the number 1. So as Rin rushes in, Nagi decides to execute a new plan. As he goes into a kicking motion, Rin jumps in front to block the shot, but proceeds to hit him with the pump fake and spin the ball like it's in a dryer. This takes Rin and Isagi off guard, and we see Rin in the back needing a revive, with the ball falling towards Nagi again as he hits the 2-stage fake volley. I'm telling y'all, this scene right here is responsible for about 80% of Nagi fans today. The glaze all originated from this moment, with even Isagi hopping on the glaze train asking if he's a god. And to top it all off, Nagi's goal celebration is him posing like he's on the show Hole in the Wall, and he is somehow summoning smoke underneath him. How is that even possible? I would say this is truly the first taste of Prime Nagi Seishirou, but this isn't enough evidence to determine whether his prime was one of the best or not. Lucky for the Nagi fans, it doesn't end there. The Nagi fans, and probably Kaneshiro too, with how much he likes Nagi, are about to eat good, because we're heading into the U20 match. So a lot is on the line here. BLUELOCK is on the verge of shutting down if they lose, and the U20 team is trying to prove they're not frauds, which, spoiler alert, they didn't. The biggest event though is Itoshi Sai is playing for pretty much the first time for Japan, and the amount of glaze and motion this singular man has here is actually crazy. Girls taking pictures with him, jumbo Jumbotrons, people buying jerseys. They were doing everything they could to hype this man up, giving him Reagan levels of glaze. To my mob cycle folk out there, y'all know what I'm talking about. Nagi has already been beat by the lil bro too, so for his older brother to take the controller, it's gonna be a rough time out here for our boy. But here we go, y'all. The game kicks off with Nagi, Rin, and Isagi running forward, and they immediately pull out the geometry to move up in a triangle formation. If I'm being honest, this is a Nagi video, and he doesn't really contribute anything for the first few minutes, but after a few attempts of an attack, the ball eventually lands towards Nagi. And this is what the Nagi fans have been waiting for. Atoya got the ball and couldn't get through, Yukimiya got the ball and couldn't get through, so maybe we gotta send in our big hitters. But that's when someone slams into Nagi from the back, and hey, yo! I got a lot of questions going on here. First, who invited, bruh? There is no way you are under 20. Give me an ID check on, bro. This gotta be a super senior or something. But Aiku comes in and steals the ball away, which tells us that this game might not be as easy as we think, because even Nagi Seishirou is getting stopped. This leaves Nagi looking absolutely bamboozled, like he's seen a ghost, and Neo in the back just smiling as they're introduced to the U20's Iron Wall Quartet, which could be renamed to Aiku and the Trash Can Friends. Unfortunately, this failed play by Nagi gives them possession, and the worst case scenario happens with Itoshi Sai getting the ball. And you know how I said he was getting hyped up to the max? Boy, oh boy, did he live up to the hype. Nanase on the side couldn't even open his eyes because he knew we were about to see a massacre. Sai starts moving up, and Shigiri slides across the screen to stop him, but by the time he actually catches up, the ball is long gone, with Sai sending it away. Some random players get the ball, and they end up passing it back to Sai, with Nico left defending the big boss. Now, this is truly a David versus Goliath fight, so as much as I love Nico, we cannot respect the faithful 1v1. We gotta use any method up the wazoo to give us the advantage. So we send Shigiri in for a 1v2, effectively jumping Sai with sheer numbers. But even that's not enough to stop bro, because he finds the tiniest opportunity to send a pass to Sendo, who absolutely fumbles the shot like your homie going for that 10 out of 10. Just straight bricks, bruh. This pisses off Sai so badly. Like, just look at this frame, bro. He's gonna eliminate Sendo himself. So he decides to take things into his own hands, running for the ball, and scores a near impossible shot to send the U20 team into the lead. And now the situation just turned from bad to worse. The whole crowd is cheering for his goal. We're down a point, and Sai is just nonchalantly aura farming on us. Worst of all, though, remember that the whole play started because of Nagi losing the ball. So if none of our previous plans are working, the best players aren't working, Itoshi Sai is living up to the hype, what the hell do we do? And no one had answers. We're already at a disadvantage just a few minutes into the game, and with all hope seemingly lost, only one player rose to the occasion to bring us back on track. The game restarts as Rin and Isagi make their way up the field and weave two of the U20 players, leading to Bachira getting the ball. Now all three of them, Isagi, Rin, and Nagi, are upfield, but Neo is on Nagi, and Aiku pulls out a fireball spell to get in front of Isagi. And did we ever get an explanation for this? Because this was not even in the manga. They gave bro firebending in this football anime, and expect us to just say, oh yeah, I've seen that one before. But anyways, Bachira hits a pass over to Rin, who was the only free person, and instead of going for an easier goal, he made things harder for himself by trying to copy Itoshi Sai's goal. This allowed Fukaku Gen to block it, but Yukimiya picks up the rebound, weaves a defender, goes for the shot, but Aiku uses instant transmission to block it in midair. The ball is still in play though, and Atoya runs for it, goes for a shot which gets face blocked, and I don't know how the hell Neo blocked this without even blinking. Like, dog, it is not that serious. But the ball is falling towards Nagi, and he sees this as the most perfect opportunity in the world to introduce himself. Unfortunately, two other players are right next to him, so it's turned into a 1 versus 2 with both of them rushing towards him. Maybe karma for what we did to Itoshi Sai. But when all hope is lost, always gamble on prime Nagi Seishirou, because Nagi goes into a shooting motion, but that ends up being a bait as he traps the ball, becoming a part of the master baiters. Because look at how hard this defender got baited. Got him damn near hitting the Michael Jackson splits. He then continues to tap lift it as he jumps and turns 180 in midair to face the ball. And oh my god, the only person in Blue Lock that can pull this off is literally Nagi. Nagi. At this point, all of our hands are on our heads as one defender is on the ground and Wakatsuki is just staring at bro instead of trying to do his job. Wakatsuki is so trash. But if we're being for real, if I saw this, I probably would have just gave up too. Nagi still getting a massive airtime has all of Japan pretty much watching bro. On the streets, in the house, at your job. As he says, nice to meet you, Japan. He is Nagi Seishirou as he sends the ball flying, scoring the first goal on Japan's side. The whole stadium is quiet. No one can quite believe what they just saw. I can't believe what I just saw. But that's when screams erupt, everyone is hyped, and the whole stadium starts cheering. Not 1 second wasted too. Nagi goes straight to aura farming, pumping his fists in the air and nonchalantly staring at the camera. And what he trying to do? He trying to rizz me up? Why low-key working? This moment really sparked the momentum of BLUELOCK in the U20 match and gave Nagi even more glazers because everyone has come to the realization that BLUELOCK is the real deal. All in part to the lazy genius. But y'all, we need to go over one moment that will truly help us answer the question of whether or not prime Nagi Seishirou was overhyped or deserving of the glaze. Because we can't talk about prime Nagi Seishirou without talking about this one moment. This singular moment, you could say, was the culmination of his whole journey. The beginning with Isagi, his curiosity in the second selection, his shining moment in the U20. Everything was for this one defining moment. Y'all, it's time for Nagi Seishirou in Mannshine City versus Bastard Munich. We pick up with the game being currently 1-0 in Mannshine's favor due to Chigiri's goal, but a lot happens right after. We get the debut of Isagi and Corona's Planet Hotline, and as they move up the field, Isagi is about to get a perfect pass in front of the goal, but unfortunate for him, Kaiser becomes Mannshine's 12th player and steals the pass. We've already went over Kaiser being the biggest hater on this channel, but up until this point, you couldn't convince me these two were on the same team, stealing passes, blocking shots, whatever this is. And as Kaiser steals the ball from Isagi, Chigiri comes in and slide kicks it away, leaving the ball to go to Ryo. If you don't remember, at this point in time too, Ryo and Nagi have kind of split up, which is important for later, so remember that. But Ryo copies Rin and sends it flying towards Nagi, and this is where we get our first glimpse of him in the NEL. As the ball goes towards him, two of these random bastard players come to block Nagi, but Nagi pulls a reverse, turning his back towards them while holding them back. And when have we ever seen Nagi do something like this before? He holding them back like how Spider-Man held that train, and then proceeds to stop the ball in place and drag it backwards. The look on bro's face right here about says it all. He ain't ever seen anything like this before. And then he proceeds to bring the ball up himself. Again, completely different than the Nagi Seishirou we knew before, because usually he'd be sitting like a duck waiting for a pass. His skull aura pops up too, and seriously, anytime bro appears, they turn him into a D1 aura farmer. But before he continues the play, we get a flashback on how Chris Prince is trying to coach Nagi, with him responding he just wants to be Isagi, and this confuses the hell out of Prince because Nagi up until this point didn't know much about football, which led Chris to one answer and one answer only. Nagi's creativity is lacking. So his suggestion is for him to play more actively, and even Augie jumps in to help his training, which brings us back to present times of Nagi's new play style, being able to create his own style from zero, effectively cutting the flow of the game and restarting it with him. And right away, we see the seeds of that growth as Augie hits this acrobatic pass, and Nagi traps it going for a juggling shot. Just in time though, Yukimiya blocks it, and if his vision was bad already, Nagi just put the nail in the coffin for bro. But the whole point why we're going over this is we're seeing a new Nagi Seishirou, and we even see another attempt of him almost hitting a bicycle kick, but Kaiser appears out of thin air to block it. This eventually led to Kaiser's goal, and now the score is tied 1-1, but the focus of the match kind of shifted towards Isagi learning metavision, with him even beating Nagi. Isagi almost makes a goal, but Kaiser again came guns blazing in front of him, and he makes a bad shot, which Kunigami capitalizes on and scores instead. So now the score is 2-1, and this is truly where it all begins, as Nagi talks to Ryo again, saying he wants to be Isagi. He tells Ryo that he needs him in order to be Isagi, and after after a couple back and forths, they're back on speaking terms, bringing the OG duo back together. And right away, we see them absolutely dominating the field, with Ryo using itoshi side copies to hit fast passes between him and Nagi. The panels we get here are absolutely gorgeous, and they keep moving forward till eventually Nagi gets in front of the goal. But right as he's at the finish line, the two biggest obstacles appear in front of him. Both Kaiser and Isagi are here, and Nagi passes it back to Ryo for one last pass. Ryo now has to make a split-second decision on the best route for a goal, and he realizes it's actually behind Kaiser since it's more open, but since he understands Nagi's dream is winning against Isagi, we see him take the harder route, passing it towards Isagi, giving us this matchup. And here we go, folks. What we've all been waiting for. Literally a rivalry that was born since the start of the manga. The whole motivation for Nagi trying, and the peak of Nagi's play. Isagi and Nagi are rushing towards the ball, with them running alongside each other. Nagi gets the first touch on it, and Isagi jumps in front of him, preventing a shot. Nagi, however, feints the ball, but Isagi said, he's seen this before, and made that play intentionally because he knew Nagi was going to do that. Nagi looks shocked, and Isagi believes that this is checkmate, as he's seen right through the play. He knows he just has to header the ball away now, and dives headfirst into it. But Nagi hits another feint, faking out Isagi. Take a gander at Isagi's face too. This is truly a gotcha moment. Isagi, this ain't a good look at all. Gritting his teeth, looking like he's seen a ghost too. And all Isagi can do is open his mouth and say, huh. Which means Isagi has completely got outplayed by Nagi. But remember, y'all, Kaiser was here too. And he sees this happen, so he starts to prepare for the defense too. Kaiser hits the dash, and Nagi sees this. It goes into another shooting motion, but hits Kaiser with the pump fake again. And dog, 3 times in a row is devious. Even a new Gen 11 couldn't stop bro. Isagi panicking, hits the ground running, going behind Kaiser and trying his best to stop the shot, as he realizes he can still use a body block. So he jumps in front waiting for the shot, but it never comes, as he hits them with the 4th fake. And fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But 4 times? The quote doesn't go up that high. Isagi this whole time is giving a whole explanation on the play, but uncharacteristically lands on the conclusion saying he can't even read this. This face just screams, we're cooked. Nagi then disrespectfully takes some time to thank Isagi, saying he's the best in the world, as we see his flow state eyes activate, and how greedy, bro, thanking him even before he's made the goal. Even in a solo versus duo situation, Nagi jumps towards the ball and hits the 5-shot fake volley, immediately hitting the back of the net and making the score 2-2. Nagi lands, lets out a breath, and screams at the top of his lungs at the play he just made. And bro, that got me screaming too. This would be known as a monumental goal across the world, even canonically, because it's the most viewed goal in the Neo Egoist League, arguably the best goal in all of BLUELOCK. And this would mark the peak of his career, as prime Nagi Seishirou not just beat his longtime rival since the start of the series, but also a new Gen 11, debuting a shot no one has ever seen and in front of the whole world. You just love to see it, as he hits Hiryo with the cleanest dap up of all time, bows his head, and celebrates as Hiryo jumps on top of his shoulders. At this moment, Nagi was truly on top of the world. But that marks the peak of Nagi Seishirou, because after that, he would have one of the most historic fall-offs that led to his elimination. He was the Celtic Shaq of the Neo Egoist League. Endless slander, saying he was washed, calling him a bum. Nagi truly fell from grace. And I won't lie, I think the slander is kind of funny. With all that said and done though, did prime Nagi Seishirou truly live up to the hype? Or is he an overglazed fraud? And to that I say, prime Nagi Seishirou was truly built different. I will stand on business though and say he should rightfully be slandered for that 3-game performance at the end. And there's our answer, folks. This was kind of a harder video to make because I'm low-key neutral on Nagi's character. Like, I don't love him, I think the slander is funny, but this video was low-key a glaze session for a character I'm neutral on. So next time we'll cover one of the characters I have a stronger opinion on. This was only the beginning of the Prime series, so let me know which character y'all want me to talk about next. But until then, take care of yourselves, YouTube YouTube really thinks you like this video right here, so check that one out. Thank you for making it to the end. If no one said it to you, I love you.